Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Students, in the last lecture, we had begun with chapter number 8, Introduction to Biotechnology, and in that we had discussion on various application of biotechnology. So today we'll start with one of the most important application of biotechnology, that is animal husbandry. Two main methods as artificial insemination and embryo transfer are used in animal husbandry. It helps to improve both the quantity and quality of animal products. For example, milk, meat, wool, etc. Similarly, animals with more strength have been developed for hard work. So, in the field of animal husbandry, biotechnology played a very important role for improving the quality of milk products as well as bringing about new varieties in animals in their species. Now, if we talk about human health, diagnosis and treatment of the diseases are two important aspects of the human health. Biotechnology helps to identify the role of gene, if any, in disease of a person. Diagnosis of diabetes and heart diseases has become possible even before the onset of symptoms with the help of biotechnology. Diagnosis of the diseases like AIDS, dengue can be done with few minutes. Hence, treatment can be done at the earliest. So, with the help of biotechnology, diagnosis and treatment of various diseases can be done for proper human health management. In fact, for the certain diseases like diabetes and heart, there are possible treatments even before the symptoms are seen. Various medicines are used for the treatment of diseases. Example, the hormone insulin is used in treatment of diabetes. Earlier, insulin was being collected from the pancreas of horses. However, nowadays, due to biotechnology, insulin can be prepared with the help of bacteria. For this purpose, human insulin has been inserted into the genome of bacteria. Various vaccines and antibiotics are also produced in the same way. So, in earlier days, for the treatment of diabetes, insulin was collected from the pancreas of horses. But because of biotechnology, insulin now prepared with the help of bacteria. They take insulin gene from human and they insert it in the genome of bacteria. Now this bacteria are able to produce human insulin. And this way other antibiotics as well are produced. Vaccine and vaccination. Vaccine is the antigen containing material given to acquire either permanent or temporary immunity against a specific pathogen or disease. Traditionally, vaccines were prepared with the help of pathogens. Completely or partially killed pathogens were used as vaccines. However, due to this, there were chances of contracting the disease in case of some persons. Hence, as an alternative, scientists tried to artificially produce vaccines with the help of biotechnology. For this purpose, scientists produce the antigen in the laboratory with the help of gene, isolate it from the pathogen and use it as vaccine. Thus, safer vaccines are produced. So, if we talk about vaccines, nowadays we all know about the vaccines being produced on a large scale for a very dreadful disease called COVID 19. So, you must have heard about the vaccines productions, which is now in process and is being given to the people who are health workers. So, how these vaccines are produced? So, as it is mentioned here, earlier pathogens were used, particularly, okay, they were completely or partially kill pathogens. But because of certain problems in some persons, this practice is stopped now. Now scientists, what they do, they artificially produce vaccines with the help of biotechnology. And for this purpose, scientists take the antigen, they produce the antigen in lab with the help of gene isolated from pathogen. So take the gene from the pathogen and they use it as vaccine. Okay, so this is how vaccines are produced nowadays. Now, proteins which act as antigen are injected in pure form instead of injecting the killed or semi-killed pathogens. So they inject only proteins. Okay. So these proteins keep the person away from the disease by keeping the immune system active. Thus, injecting the antigen is the safest way in vaccination. So instead of injecting the whole pathogen, only its protein is injected. Vaccines produced with the help of biotechnology are more thermostable and remain active for longer duration. For example, vaccines of polio, hepatitis. So in this way, the vaccines which are produced, they are thermally stable. They remain stable at different temperature range. Now, now there is a scope for edible vaccine as well. Edible means which we can eat. Work on production of edible vaccines is in progress and presently potatoes are being produced with the help of biotechnology. These potatoes are called as transgenic potatoes. These potatoes will act against bacteria like Vibrio chlorella, Escherichia coli. Consumption of these raw potatoes generates the immunity against the cholera and the disease caused due to E. coli. What will happen if these potatoes are cooked for consumption? So students, these edible vaccines are produced with the help of biotechnology and now they are experimenting this on potatoes. So these potatoes are called as transgenic potatoes. So they act against bacteria like Vibrio cholerae, Escherichia coli. So this bacteria which diseases they produce, they will act on them. So you can see in the diagram, it's isolation of desired gene from human pathogen. Then is transgenic plant virus. The virus infect the piece of potato leaves and then entire plant is developed from the leaf piece containing genes of human pathogen. So consumption of raw potatoes help to develop immunity against that pathogen. Treatment. Biotechnology is useful for production of hormones like insulin, somatostatin, and blood clotting factors. Interferon. This group of small-sized protein molecule used in treatment of viral diseases. These are produced in blood. However, nowadays with the help of biotechnology, transgenic E. coli are produced from the production of interferon. Gene therapy. Gene therapy to treat genetic disorder in somatic cells has become possible due to biotechnology. Example, phenylketonuria or PKT arises due to genetic changes in hepatocytes, that is, liver cells. It has become possible to treat it with gene therapy. This method is called as somatic cell gene therapy. All the cells except sperms and ova in the body are called somatic cells. So we know what are somatic cells. These are body cells. So except the germ cells like sperm and ova, all the body cells are called somatic cells. So if there is any disorder in the somatic cells, this therapy, gene therapy, is used to treat it. Cloning. Cloning. Production of replica of any cell or organ or entire organism is called cloning. Reproductive cloning. A clone can be produced by fusion of a nucleus of somatic cell with n-nucleated ovum of any body. Thus, there is no need of sperm to produce the new organism. So, in reproductive cloning, what they do, they fuse a nucleus of somatic cell with n-nucleated ovum. And this way, they no required sperm to reproduce the new organism. Therapeutic cloning. Stem cells can be derived from the cell from the laboratory by union of somatic cell nucleus with n-nucleated egg cell. Various diseases can be treated with the help of these stem cells. Similar to cells, genes can also be cloned and millions of copies of same gene can be produced. Those can be used for gene therapy and other purposes. Controlling the inheritance of hereditary diseases, continuation of generation, enhancing the specific tendency may become possible due to cloning technique. However, there is worldwide opposition to human cloning on various issues. Industrial products or white biotechnology. Various industrial chemicals can be produced less expensive processes. Example, alcohol production from sugar molasses with the help of transgenic yeast. It has become possible to solve environment-related various problems with the help of biotechnology. Microbial techniques are already in use for treatment on sewage and solid waste. Sewage is rich in organic matter. If such sewage is released in natural water bodies like rivers, the organic matter in it gets oxidized with the help of dissolved oxygen. Due to this, level of dissolved oxygen in water decreases, adversely affecting the aquatic life. As a remedy on this, sewage should be released into the rivers only after oxidation with the help of microbial technique. So in environment as well, biotechnology is playing a good role. There are microbial techniques which are used for sewage water treatment. Sewage which are rich in organic matter, what they do, they release in natural water like river, organic matter in it get oxidized, and due to which the dissolved oxygen decreases in water. So microbes which are useful on large scale wide production of compost by treatment on solid organic waste material. Bioremediation, biopesticides, biofertilizer, biosensors, etc. are some new concepts in biotechnological methods. Bioremediation means either absorption or destruction of toxic chemicals and harmful pollutants with the help of plants and microorganisms. If plants are used for this purpose, it is called as phytoremediation. Some examples of bioremediation are as follows. The Pseudomonas bacteria are useful for cleaning the hydrocarbon and oil pollutants from soil and water. The Funtaris vitata can absorb the arsenic from the soil. Genetically modified variety of Indian mustard can absorb selenium from soil. Sunflower can absorb uranium and arsenic. The bacterium Deinococcus radiodunas are highly radiation resistant organism. It has been genetically modified and used to absorb the radiation from radioactive debris. Grasses like alfalfa, clover and rye are used in phytoremediation. So these are some microbes which are used in protecting the environment pollution. Food biotechnology. Food items like bread, cheese, wine, beer, yogurt, vinegar are produced with the help of microorganisms. These food items are probably the oldest one produced with the help of biotechnology. DNA fingerprinting. DNA sequence of each person is unique as that of fingerprints. Due to this, identity of any person can be established with the help of its available DNA. This is called as DNA fingerprinting. It is mainly useful in forensic sciences. Identity of the criminal can be established with the help of any part of its body found at the site of crime. Similarly, identity of father of any child can be established. This research is performed in Center of DNA Fingerprinting and Diagnostics, Hyderabad. So DNA fingerprinting technique is one of the most important technique being used by the forensic science people. They take DNA fingerprinting help in order to identify the criminal in order to establish the parentage issues problem. Important stages in agricultural development. Green Revolution. Problems of population explosion were started to appear at the beginning of 20th century. Almost all the countries, especially underdeveloped and developing countries, had been badly affected by the effects of poor quality and quantity of food. Various methods applied for harvesting maximum yield from minimum land are collectively called as Green Revolution. So Green Revolution is the revolution which brought about in the field of agriculture. Improvised dwarf varieties of wheat and rice, proper use of fertilizers and pesticides, and water management has led to the increased production of food grains, and thereby large population has been saved from hunger. Dr. Norman Borlaug from USA and Dr. M.S. Swaminathan from India have valuable contribution in Green Revolution. Various research institutes and laboratories are engaged in development of new varieties of various crops through research. Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi, National Citrus Research Institute, Nagpur and allied branches, Indian Institute of Science, National Pomegranate Research Institute of Solapur are some of the institutes working in Green Revolution field. White Revolution. Various parts of India were rich in milk and milk products. However, those products were not sufficient to meet the needs of far-flung regions. Dr. Verghese Kurian provided through the cooperative movement and use of biotechnology that dairy can be allied by it, but it will be a mainstream business. He put the cooperative dairy movement of Anand, Gujarat at all-time high status. While achieving the self-sufficiency in dairy business, various experiments were performed for quality control, newer dairy products and their preservation. While people all over the world are again preferring the local wild varieties. Blue Revolution. Production of various useful aquatic organisms with the help of water is called as Blue Revolution. Farm, ponds, and the fishes are very common in East Asian countries. However, people are not only thinking of cultivating the fishes and shrimps but other aquatic plants and animals too. Government of India has vowed to increase the production by encouraging the people for pisciculture by launching the program Nil Kranti Mission 2016. 50 to 100% subsidies are offered in these cases. Marine and freshwater fishery is possible on large scale. Freshwater fishes like rohu, katla and other fishery products like shrimp and lobsters are being cultured on large scale. Fertilizers. Two types of fertilizers are used in agriculture. One of those in organic manure and others are chemical fertilizers. Water holding capacity of the soil improves with the soil conservation and due to use of manures. Upper layer of the soil essentially in agriculture is formed due to humus formation. Various essential elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium can be available to crops due to earthworms and fungi. In soil-less farming, that is hydroponics, liquid chemical fertilizers are used. However, there are more harmful effects of liberal use of chemical fertilizers. It includes decrease in fertility of soil, insecticides. Though the natural immunity of plants can prevent the infection, use of insecticide is not under control. Irrespective of the natural friends of farmers like frogs and insectivorous birds, pesticides are used on large scale for increase in yield. Pesticides are in fact a type of poison. This poison enters the food web through water and food and its biomagnification occurs. Various pesticides like DDT, malathion, chlorpyrifos, etc. have been proved to be dangerous. Organic farming. Nowadays, organic farming and organic products have become buzzwords. Organic products are being available and demand for them is ever increasing. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides have been used on large scale. These poisonous chemicals reach the human body through food and water, and their adverse harmful effects on human and environment become apparent. Various problems like soil fertility and pest infestation have become serious. So, as to overcome these problems, farmers are opting for organic farming. It includes complete ban on chemical fertilizers and pesticide and use of local study varieties and thereby maintaining natural balance. Definitely this is a welcome decision. So seeing all the problems of chemical fertilizers, organic farming is now in demand. Apiculture. You must have seen the beehive. Worst method of harvesting collecting the honey from this hive is driving away the bees by smoking the hive with burning torch and then cutting the hive into pieces. This method caused the destruction of hive and large scale death of bees. However, it is easy to collect the honey without destroying the hive and the bees if artificial bee boxes are used. Cultivation of medicinal plants. India has been gifted with a great variety of biodiversity. Indian citizens have established the humble and strong relation with the nature. We have a great tradition of Ayurveda that cures the diseases with the help of natural resources. During earlier days, medicinal plants were collected from the forest. However, due to depletion of forest area, medicinal plants are becoming rare. Hence, medicinal plants are being cultivated. Food processing. We are daily using various products prepared from fruits. All are consuming the products like chocolates, juices, jams, and jellies. All these products can be produced by processing on fruits. Fruits are perishable, agro-produce. It needs the processing in such a way that it can be used throughout the year. Fruit processing includes various methods ranging from storage in cold storage to drying, salting, airtight packing, preparing murabba, evaporating, etc. So in this way, biotechnology is applicable in various fields starting from agricultural produce to animal husbandry to human health, in medicinal industry, in pharmaceutical industry, in food processing and whatnot. So this is how biotechnology is important to us. So here we have finished this chapter. I will forward the written material of this chapter in your WhatsApp group. Read this chapter, write the complete work, written work of this chapter in your notebook. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.